Have to turn on the microphone. That helps. Is that better now? Welcome and thank you, Wednesday writers. And yeah. Really excited to welcome you all here, and those of you who are here to listen. An absolute joy and delight every week to host you all, and has been now for many years, going back to like 2009. A little background. A weekly writing group that grew out of a series of memoir and poetry workshops led by writers in residence, Maureen, Owen, and Collom in 2009, and has continued to this very day, though through several lives and iterations, and we've seen people move away and people pass away. Thinking of Janine Arsenault and Sally Tolan, and but it's wonderful to have you all here tonight and every Wednesday. I'm gonna be just announcing, names in alphabetical order. We'll just keep this easy. But before that, I want to do two things. I want to just generally invite you back here to events that are upcoming. So we have our newsletter out front, everything online. But more specifically, and maybe of interest to this crowd, our monthly open mic, Resound Return, Friday. This one is going to be on Halloween, so bring your spooky poems. And come read those, 7 o'clock, Friday the 31st. And then, of course, I know like many of you here who are part of the Wednesday Writers Group are already registered for the Poetry Marathon. But for everybody else, our Poetry Marathon is coming up in January, 24th and 25th of January at St. Kate, the Arts Hotel. If you would like to read, ask us how to join us and register to read, or just think about attending. It's a really wonderful event, 24 hours over 2 days of poetry and short films and performances and good food and amazing company. It's a pretty beautiful time, as well as a major fundraiser for Woodland Pattern. We are a nonprofit, so it's like really sustains us throughout the rest of the year, that event in particular. So ask us more about that. Okay, those were the announcements. Now let's get to the poems. Kicking us off by the chance of the name you were born with, Vince Bushell. Welcome, Vince.
It is somewhat fortuitous that I'm leading off, because on the way over here, I'm coming down the stairs of my back porch and tripped and fell into the bushes and hit my cheek on a 5-gallon plastic bucket. So while it's not swollen, I'll try to proceed.
Don't worry, we're following.
What's not so funny is I felt even worse a few months ago, which it's not a good idea at my age to be falling down. Tom, one of our fellow poets, likes to use photographs, and the first one I want to present this evening, you can just pass these back. You can look at them. And because I think this poem means a little bit more if you can see the photograph. Some of you may have been at the demonstration on Saturday downtown in the park. I was there in June, and I was there Saturday, and I took a bunch of pictures, and this is one of the pictures I took. Only princesses. In a child's eyes, I see kindness, a bit of can I trust? Surrounded by loving elders, a future built on loving, on loving, on loving. A crowd of thousands, little feet, big feet, old and young, waving, waving, waving the flag of love. A giant group hug of thousands in wheelchairs, in buggies, in chicken costumes. Smiling, smiling, smiling. A little girl in peachy pink with green headphones and blue tennies. Look this way, show us the way. Una dia a la vez, one day at a time. We stand together, we march together, we care together. October 18th, 2025, Cathedral Square. So a protest became a love fest. I don't know what these people are saying. I saw one Jeep go by with a bunch of yahoos yelling, and there were thousands of people just having a good time. Waiting for Godot. Maybe some of you have seen this play. There's a new version of it in Manhattan right now. I'm asking Paula to send me there so I can see it. I don't think that's going to happen. In this particular rendition of my memory of seeing it when I was in college, when I was in my 20s, I used the word soma, so maybe some of you may be familiar with Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, and soma is the elixir that made us all malleable, is one way to talk about that. Waiting for Godot, so says Samuel Beckett. In 2025, and the sun still rises and the wind does blow, I stand on ancient ground and drink ancient water. Looking for answers, finding only questions. Remember my 20s UWM theater, waiting. Act 1, bums on the stage, wondering when he will come. They are sure he will come. Tension mounts. I move to the edge of my seat. I want the answer. I need the answer. Tell me the answer. Oh, wait, okay. It will come. Act 2. More conversations, a visitor or two, positive signs. He is on his way. This we will know. Then we will know what we need to know. But he never shows. Despair, and now only question still. Uncertainty attacks my soul. Nihilism reigns supreme. Godot has let us down. Soma, I need soma. Let the boats come forth, speeding from tropical seas to give us what we want, an elixir for the pain of not knowing, of not existing. Beckett has crushed us in the 1950s, but we still wait. We still wait for Godot. I read this at Linneman's, and I think, is the guy's name PJ? PJ says to me on the way out, he said, let's go. And I said, well, what's that, PJ? Well, those are the last lines that they say. Epilogue, last lines. Vladimir, well, shall we go? Estragon, yes, let's go. Stage directions, they do not move. Hello, nowhere man. Talking to the sparrows, they don't listen. Talking to the cats, they don't care. Talking to the dogs, they cock a confused ear. Talking to the ladies, they don't believe. Talking to the men, they don't understand. He is fading, his eyes are failing, his ears are ringing, his body is aching. Is there a place for him in this world? Hold on to this, the blue on blue horizon, the breeze from the east at the great lake. And that evening he understands as the full moon shines on. Do I see a smile there? Someone at a time unexpected sees him and touches his hand and smiles. First a woman, then a man, Then a bird sings in his ear, his cat purrs in his lap, sharing warmth. A dog wags and licks his face. A swallowtail butterfly tastes the nectar of the anise hyssop in his yard, and with the flutter of its wings, he finds peace in nowhere, everywhere. And I'll end with habitat. I wrote this in September, I guess, of this year. Walk through the woods, see the river nearby, catch the wind in your lungs, the cathedral of life, tall trees form the roof, open to the sky, and allow light to drift downward as the wind bends the branches. All forms of life flourish, from the tiniest insects to white-tailed deer to those two-footed humans. Birds fly and sing, bees buzz, snakes crawl, fungus grows on the dead trunks and colors the leaves as they drop in the fall. And add rain, and the cycle becomes near to full, but ever changing. Can you see me, hawk? Can you hear me, fox? Can you talk to me, crow and owl? Every living thing is here. Take the water and the air at the base, the plants weld them together into green and colored things. Carbon forms full of sun's energy. Every living thing that has not the skill of welding carbon and oxygen and hydrogen needs to get in line and feed on the living and the dead. The tree dies and falls, the seasons change and enrich the soil. Here is the fate of all. All carbon forms are recycled. Here, the dead feeds the living, and the wind carries the dream. Look close and you will know it. Want not, worry not. When we go, new life will come. Rejoice in the renewal. Let the sun shine in. Open your heart and soul and become the transubstantiation. And so it is, a different way to bear witness to God in nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vince. And seeing Vince reads reminds me to tell you to get a copy of the River West Currents on the way out, if you don't have one already. So, next we have Karen Haley. Karen, welcome. Thank you for being here. Woo!
This is so much fun. Thank you to Woodland Patterns for providing, not just tonight, but every week, a place for our creativity to just grow. Not so very many years ago, when a call went out for poems of peace, there weren't specific things like Ukraine and Gaza. So this is inner peace. We speak of it as inner and private, not knowing it spreads, touches those who on every side lean against us. Without it, sides can press in, can crumble, smother our core, drown and extinguish our voice. Hold on to that center. Make it strong, like solid timber. It will keep you whole. And then, not surprisingly, a bird poem. I don't think it'd be a reading without one. So this is called Visitation. They swoop in so silent, a flick of motion on the periphery. 3 crows land effortless on a wire. 2 huddle close, their heads leaning gently together, their need tactile and immediate. The third, maybe braver, more easy, spaced down the line a ways, nevertheless, remains very close. Not yet yearlings, maybe nestlings, recent fledges, disheveled in the cloudy quiet, they seem rippled by the bits of rain now fitful. They keep their silence and stay quite unmoved for long minutes. Distracted by two sparrows, noisy and very near, when I look back, all three crows are gone, sliding out of my space as silently as they had appeared. I begin to feel the emptiness. And with the kind of week we had, you may just find this a little relevant. Gentle, oh, so gentle. In the middle night dark, that soft tick of rain finding my windowed glass panes. It calls a soft slide into sleep, like a measured note of a long song, as even and quiet as breath, as known lullaby. Have no fear, there will be time enough for stars in the low black sky that is left over after the rain has gone. But for tonight, there is only the dark murmur of the rain and sleep served in the calm remains of that dark, insistent in the ticking quiet. How am I doing time-wise? There's another one. Okay. Let's do this one. This one is sung to a season. This blue becomes you, I say to the lake, when the sky, a paler echo, wraps blue arms around the tree at my back, outlines the fragments of bright lilts in red and gold drawn on the waves. In the distance, lake and sky could merge, if not for the reeds. Strong and upright at the edge, but able to bend, to bow to the wind, insistent as it is in its cooling breath. All of this brash and glittered on the upturned face of the lake when the unshy sun calls its name and a season drops, giving of its weight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. And next we have front row right here, Tim Kloss. Tim, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Chloe. Time to draw. A wee lad in my father's house, I had time to draw things. Like Sophia Loren in Apron and Blouse. Mom sang cleaning the kitchen mornings. I knew how to turn on the turntable and place the needle in the groove. Stories and music, ever to attend wert I capable, but felt no desire a good little soldier to prove. On 3 lines above the back lawn, fresh laundry mother hung, attaching wooden toys with metal coils cleverly indented. The clothespin was added as yet another member among those many belonging to the set of things I could not have invented. As Mom rushed in to answer the house phone's ring, I went in sneakers to gaze through the porch window screen and spied on the neighbor's bird bath, where a starling or grackle neared godliness, getting its tail clean. Careful not to let the porch door slam, I slipped outside, watching the sky and feeling the air's free course. Rarely content then as now to remain where and what I am, I picked up a broom to mount it, the make-believe horse, and charged a low-hanging, drying white bed sheet, just following orders from my company's sergeant. But Mom's televisit was short, spelling the cavalry's defeat, turning my cheeks from false bravery's flushed rose to caught at the scene in the wrongful act argent. Seeing Mom's disapproving glare made me elsewhere high my snotty nose. I told the weeping willow, I didn't mean to spoil the linen. The big old tree whispered something like, that's just the way a thing like that sometimes goes, and waving around his leaves for 5 minutes of a sunny day got me back to grinning. Time to draw. A sonneteer's smile. Persons real rarely impress me, as do the models for old masters whose splendid raiment donned, or simple peasant lack of largesse, to pose in quiet reflection, or suspended amid disasters, or disrobed abed in Our Lady's chamber, or on the outskirts, sponging laundress toilet along a pastoral stream, tortured by uncouth embrace, or resplendent in romantic slumber, farming the native earth, enwrapped upon a sea-coastal dream. Lo, the infinite shades which couch the thumb, while the nostril sfumato inspires, as the palm the discordant apple cradles, or fingers the lyre strum, or the ankles awash of volcanic fires. But if I try aping my master's contours fall and rise, then I see the light of the gods close and open everyday eyes. A sonneteer's smile.
Thank you so much, Tim. And I should say, for those who don't know, longtime host of Poets Monday at Linneman's. So Monday night, you know what you're doing. All right. And we're going to jump from K all the way to O. So Pepe Oulahan, welcome. Thanks for being here. Pepe!
Okay, thank you very much. You know, as always, thank you to Woodland Pattern. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you guys do in this community. It's really super important, and the way you do it is just amazing. And Wednesday Writers Group, ditto what I just said to you guys. You know, I really enjoy being part of the group. So these two first poems that I have are about two of my older brothers who are not with us anymore. And the reason I wrote them is that I just want to make sure that, you know, I don't believe in an afterlife necessarily, but I do want them to know, and people to know, that my memories of them are not just that horrific sadness that comes with that kind of thing, but there's also other memories that I carry of them. So the first one is called Understanding the End Game. I don't care where they say people go, you are never far away. And slapping sounds on summer morning asphalt court bring you closer still. Your voice on a distant playground calls across an elegant bridge where muscle and mind learn by skirmish and heart is summoned from a place inside. Moments shared between warm-up jump shots, left-handed hook delivered, defined. Magic contained in a no-look pass, no nod needed or even a glance. You always knew where I would be. When the snow grows deep, I often think back to when I slept on the couch in that small apartment in Framingham, Mass, where you and Vicki were just starting out, and how in order to start, the car we bought had to be parked on a hill facing downward. You taught me to pop a clutch and to believe that car, regardless of the weather, would get me where I needed to go. And even though I didn't stay long, and you have since departed, thinking of you in those days, especially when the snow grows deep, helps me muster the momentum I need to keep moving forward. And so these next three poems are observations, just simple observations. And regarding the first one, I just have to say that, regardless of what your political persuasion is, I really don't like it when people refer to duly elected officials as clowns, because I really feel that clowns deserve more respect than that. Hey, it works every time. It's been twice now. Pretty good. Clown. Your thick face paint, your painted on smile, or perhaps a frown with teardrop drawn on your cheek. You do not speak, and yet you make us laugh and cry, feel the sadness of our own hearts, and stir the fear that lives inside. In the circuses of our lives, among jugglers, tigers, and acrobats, like Weary Willie trying to sweep a spot of light from a dark, lonely sawdust floor, clown, what you bring to the ring is now, and always has been, by far my favorite act. There's a footnote to that one, which is that Weary Willie is Emmett Kelly. I don't know if anybody knows who that is, real famous clown. And he had an act, he didn't write it, but he made it famous, where he would try to sweep the spotlight off the floor. And it was hilarious and very, very sad at the same time. Fat cat. I love the feeling I get when I watch a fat cat. Not the kind that lives for the love of money, but that lies comfortably balanced atop the backside of a living room couch. Paws tucked neatly under chest, pink tongue darting out and in, clean combing over neck and shoulder fur. Then, settling in, tail slowly wraps itself around folded hind legs, eyelids patiently drop, and a doorway opens to welcome in the restful makings of yet another well-fed nap. Ode to a circle of chairs. I like meeting in a circle of chairs. No power seat, no sharp-edged corners, just people seated side by side by side. Perfectly shaped for gathering, the circle speaks in powerful tones. And though life does not often offer us a circle of chairs, it does contain an innate roundness, which in turn, should we ever decide to bring our minds and hearts together, tells me that something could surely be arranged. And I wrote this last one for during the 2024 elections, and unfortunately, not only is it still relevant, but it seems like it's even more relevant than it was back then. And I dedicate this poem to somebody whom hopefully you guys all know, but his name is Victor Jara. And Victor Jara was a Chilean poet, singer, songwriter, theater director, and activist who was tortured and murdered on September 15th, 1973 by the US-supported fascist troops of Augusto Pinochet. It's called Attention Please. To stop words, they prohibit gathering. To stop words, they banish books. To stop words, they invade schools, dictate beliefs, and rearrange history. If we let them, they even execute those whose words we love and whose words give us love in return. You don't believe me? Ask Victor Jara and let me know what you find out. Thank you so much.
Pepe, thank you so much. Beautiful. And now, next to grace the stage, Leigh Rzezotarski. Leigh, yeah. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for supporting Wednesday Writers and for coming out tonight. I had a change of plans, Wednesday Writers, from what I thought I was going to read. I'm going to start off, we talked a lot today in our class about Catholic childhoods. And this is a book my husband wrote. And I decided I would read a small portion of one of his boyhood stories that deals with his Catholic boyhood. And if I had known I was next, I would have opened the book. Seven. Sorry for the delay. The first part of the tale I'm going to skip over, but if anybody wanted to read it, you could. Oh, here's his first communion picture. First part is about after World War II, the family sending care packages to Poland and buying new clothes and they made him and his cousins walk around the block to make the clothes look used, and the shoes, they had to be sure to scuff the shoes. And then he went on to say how they got bored with this foray and took some other activities under control. And the train. And they had many domestic concerns. This is where I'll pick up the tale very quickly. What and where were we going to play? How could we deal with all the outrageous homework assignments unfairly piled on us by Sister Mary Patrizia? And besides all this, there was my personal torture of trying to write with my right hand. At St. Adalbert's School, being born left-handed was considered a sign of the devil. And the nuns made every effort with whisks of the ruler on my knuckles, threats, reprimands, to make a right-handed writer out of me. They never succeeded. Yet, overarching all these lesser concerns loomed the biggest problem. How could we endure the endless preparation for our first communion, this monumental event scheduled for a few weeks down the road? We were daily and rigorously drilled in the duties, obligations, and privileges of that holy sacrament. Of course, one's clothing would be important for its religious symbolism. The girls would all wear white dresses, so befitted small brides of Christ. The boys would all wear white suits, as befitted being Christ-like, in other words, pure in heart and deed. As far as I could figure out, the girls were pure enough to indeed be Christ's little brides, but the boys were junior thugs. And no matter what the priest and the nun said, nothing would change that fact. The one possible exception was the case of little Bobby, whose goal at school and in life was to become a priest. In class, he appointed himself as the super eyes and ears of the nuns. Out of school, he reported to our parents any pitfalls on our righteous paths. Once, when my cousin wasn't praying at Mass, Bobby informed the nuns and my cousin had to stand in the corner of the classroom and pray. So after school, there was retribution, with my cousin beating up Bobby, causing Bobby's parents to march right over and inform my aunt and uncle. Once, when his niceness spotted me giving some answers to a friend, Sister Mary Martha was duly informed, and I wound up staying after school for extra penmanship drill. But with a bit of luck, I later found Bobby and pummeled him, making him go home crying. It was a fair fight since he was as tall and big as I was, but his mother came over with Bobby in tow to complain to my mother, just as she had done to other parents. I expected the worst, but my mother had a strong sense of fairness and stated, "Your son is the same size as mine. Can't he stand up for himself?" Bobby's mother was not pleased and left with His Holiness. All my mother said to me was, try to stay away from him. Finally, the Sunday came for my first communion. Like every other former thug, I awaited the arrival of the host on my tongue with some anxiety. Yet my real eagerness was for the party afterwards, the food and the presents I would get, since I was now officially a kindly lad. And now, a reading from my very unpublished chapbook.
Best chapbook ever.
It'll never, maybe never, I don't know.
May it win 17 major awards.
Just half of one would be okay. I'm going to read a two-part poem called, I should maybe just say a word of explanation. This is from a chapbook called Gretel Wanderer, and it starts off with, based on the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel. The main people are Hansel, Gretel, and the witch. In the background, the father, and of course, the proverbial stepmother. The setting, a forest, children abandoned, lost in the forest. Gets very much into archetypal situations. And Gretel has all kinds of different things happen to her, or that she makes happen, whatever. This is, the first part is called Another Day in Gretel's Life. Ding dong bell, here's a tale to tell. Gretel falls into the wishing well. She takes her lucky pfennig from her dirndl, tosses it in with a blissful wish, then swish, she leans too far to blow a kiss, and down, down, down. Is this what it is to die? Is a cosmic dwarf nearby? Then, thud, she lands in soft mud. Finds the ground clumped with coins. Her lucky pfennig leaps into her lap. Surely, this is serendipity. I'm not in hell. I just fell into a well. The wish she made had been heard by the witch, who had tricked her into this fickle ditch. Her feet grow numb. She begins to hum. My voice sounds better and well. She breaks into a plaintive song, a plea, a prison orison. Her voice lifts, vibrant, finds its way upward, is picked up by the trees. Is Hansel dead? Hansel is dead. Is Hansel dead? Hansel is dead. Rings in her head. Now I am stuck in all this muck. By our dreams we all are fed. I followed where my wishes led. Now I'm entrapped by a witch's shove, by hope, by grief, by phantom love. Wish well, wish wise at the wishing well. Open your eyes, dear infidel. Ding, dong, bell. Ding, dong, bell. And I couldn't leave her down there, so we have a part two. Thank you, somebody gets it. Transmissions from the underground. Silver soul, a stranded biped. Bucket descends. Gretel grabs on, thankful for friends. The cosmic comedy never ends. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much, Leigh. I would like to hear the further adventures of Gretel. And Next up, Janet Saenz. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you, Woodland Pattern, for this rich and friendly place that invites us and holds us week after week. Thank you. My poems tonight have a thread of the fall season. When the green goes. When the green goes, is it the leaf-stripping wind you object to? The way it leaves the tree empty and the crow exposed? Is it the slow, one by one way they fall? Is it a sorrow the stars conceal when they look down? Is it the solitude and sameness of what remains? Or a yawn of loneliness you'll borrow from the birds that stay when the green goes away? Man rakes leaves. Man rakes leaves with enormous effort. The prongs of his rake pull again and again and again against the wind, with many more prongs than he has. The wind pushes them back. I can hear him sigh as I watch the small sums and gains of his futility. We all profess to want an easier wind at our back and more time to spend. He doesn't see how fast the clouds are shifting. Hundreds, maybe more. The kitchen wall clock is slow. Dinner plates glazed in sunset clutter the countertops. The cold, complacent pond punctuates a warm glow with yellow. Silence, true and as small as a mustard seed, begins to roll like a marble or an invitation drifting in a gist of autumn. Fallen leaves start to collect themselves. Hundreds, maybe more. This is the man. This is the man I would want to read my poem, while I, anonymous as a glove on the floor at a corner pub, watch as he tries to understand the part when I reach for a plum, but become the plum instead. When he lowers his eyes as if to gaze in a well, as if to connect with his own mortal feelings, as if to protect the leftover pockets of old love. And the corners of his mouth upturn like the wax of a crescent moon, like a shallow basin of holy water, where I imagine dipping my fingers in, genuflecting as I ask him, will you? And this is the last. I probably should say a few things. This one's called obeisance, obedience. And savasana is a yoga pose that is sometimes called child pose, or it's a surrender pose. So, obeisance. It's been more than 31 years since watching out the front door. A storm tore down the old tree, right there before me. I don't question a storm's authority, but its succinct timing. It crashed. The ground shook. I shook. The obeisant, reverent chestnut tree gave that puissant wind permission to loosen, topple its old chestnut roots, spew its spiky green spears everywhere. There was no bending. no thinking twice. It simply let go. This moment, this now, this face down bow was its final balasana. Thank you. And just a little one in departing, come to the vineyard in fall. Surely ripening is not silent.
Thank you so much, Janet. And Virginia Small is up next. Virginia. Woo.
It's great to be here. It's always great to be here in this room where we meet, any and all of us, on Wednesdays for a few hours. And thanks to Woodland Pattern and all the staff here for holding this space and doing so much more. So, yeah. So I won't say too much about this poem, but I didn't formally dedicate it to Tricia Hersey, but I was thinking about that before I was reading it. She wrote a book called Rest as Resistance, and I think I've long been a fan of that. And I think more than ever, as times are tougher than ever for many of us, I believe in giving into rest. Giving into rest. Resist the urge to stay busy, to drive into town for oranges or chocolate. Curb the impulse to experience something novel, to flee this moment. Watch how the deer watch you, still and waiting for your move. Enjoy the squirrels hopping in a dance you have never before noticed. Listen to every sound, cricket hum, bird song, rustling wind, even distant cars. Walk at night to see anew, not just constellations, to discover your edge, the place you do not want to pass, and then soften into it. Thank you. So this is just the other poem I'm going to read. It's a little bit longer, and I'll just say that it was written roughly 20 years after it takes place at least I imagined from this, and it was for my sister Judy. Walking with you now. 1,000 miles from where you are buried, I walk in Resurrection Cemetery, midday near my office. Day after day, I stroll curving roads, wander among ancient and recent headstones, reading names and dates, witnessing unknown beloveds, bowing to your spirit, wherever it now resides. One foot in front of the other, I carry on for you, who chose to carry on in your own way, for love to cradle us, for these rolling Newtown hills, for blue sky, some days for misty rain, for Easter eggs you dyed, for the songwriters you cherished, Iris and Patty and Joni, for how you loved Irish Fest and all things Celtic. For how spirit soars, for how my mood lifts as I walk in woods and hollows on this hallowed ground, just as all soil is sacred, can be fertile if nourished. For the roses you planted last summer around your home, for the countless meals you cooked, for the desserts you love to bake and share, for all that is not lost, and for all that can be carried on, for whatever we are able to carry, and for whatever we must set down. For your son, for your husband, for your siblings, for anyone heard your belly laugh and will miss that buoyant music, for all that you gave and all that escaped you, for the newborns you tended, for all who you nursed and nurtured, for all who knew you, and for all that you knew and all you could not know. For all that I cannot fathom, I walk in Resurrection Cemetery, for you, for me, for all of us, for life after death, for struggle and suffering, for intertwining moments, for inextricably woven histories, for peace and piecing together. During these lunchtime loops, I walk and walk, carrying you with me. When it is more than I can bear, I get carried away by it all. Still, I carry on. I carry on. I am carried forward. My spirit soars to meet yours, and I sense the breath of all beings within these lungs. Thank you.
Virginia, thank you so much. And next we have Jean Sobon. Jean, welcome.
Well, I have thank yous too, of course, to Woodland Pattern, where I met these other writers in my group and just have learned so much from them and benefited. And my poetry, I think, has benefited from their input too. So thank you. The 3 poems I brought tonight were written during the 3 first seasons of this year. And as it's coming to an end, I'm thinking back about how wonderful and what I learned from these experiences too. The first is called Ruby Crowned Kinglet. And those of you that don't know, this is a very tiny little bird that sometimes shows up, but not every year. And this was the first one I had seen since maybe 3 decades ago, 4 decades ago. And it wasn't in my yard like the first time. I held it gently in my hands to warm it as it trembled against its dark confinement. Legs like wires so thin in the palm of my hand. The cold lake wind buffeted its tiny body when I found it huddled among emerging tulips on my way home this early spring afternoon. Perhaps yesterday's warm spell and strong winds brought it this far north into the schoolyard near my home. The hard ground offered no comfort to this fragile bird lying stunned and gasping for breath. I'd hoped it might revive until I felt its warm blood in my palm and all its struggles ceased. I marveled at its little red crown of feathers and mourned the end of its bright existence, yet another victim to a reflection of refuge. I wrapped it in a soft tissue and buried it at the back of my garden, where sparrows sing and goldfinches wait for spring greens to grow. Death and new life counterpoint each day as seasons turn for all. That was early spring. This is summer. And summer was a blast of heat this summer. It's called Shorewood Summer 2025. It's near noon, the sun high and hot despite a stiff wind. Day 3 of a heat dome over the upper Midwest. Day 3 of dripping humidity that defies bodily cooling. A carpenter labors on my south door in sun's full glare, squaring the framework before he hangs a new storm door, before tonight's rain and wind brings some welcome relief. My gardens and yard have transformed themselves into jungles that greedily suck every bit of moisture from the baked earth, but offer shade and sustenance and homes to small lives. Each day brings new discoveries. Unexpected life sprouts while older blooms form browning seed heads as this summer speeds toward burnout in July's relentless furnace. Those of us who garden learn to attend to the message that growing things communicate in their hurried ripening. Without words, they speak clearly. Watch us. Our wisdom is of our rapidly changing earth. And this was right at the end of summer, getting into fall, and the change of seasons. And I was trying to clean up my garden because it's always more work in the fall than in the summer. This is called A Reach Too Far. In my fading, overgrown garden, with the stealthy chill of fall down my neck, I straddled a border of yellow coreopsis to throw weeds into a tall bag behind me, yard waste destined for Shorewood's DPW. Today, it's clear that one final stretch and turn, weight planted firmly on only one foot, meant I'd be sitting with elevated knee, swollen, iced, and wrapped as I now write. The natural consequence of an unnatural motion that turned my leg into a painful corkscrew. Urgent care confirmed, nothing broken. Asked, how did you do this? 2 days later, MRI ordered after orthopedic doc removed fluid. With steroid in my knee and finally home, I searched the freezer for the nearest ice pack. This body teaches me daily lessons I probably missed, not having studied physics or mechanics or gymnastics, instead opting to immerse myself in the arts, written, spoken, painted, sculpted. So, leg up, I sit and write, lesson learned.
Thank you so much, Jean. And last, but certainly not least, Charles Trimberger. Charles, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. My thanks to Woodland Pattern and also to our Wednesday writers, where every reading is an inspiration to write more. And so I'm going to read 4 poems that will, a growing compendium of poems that will be entitled A Poet Looks at Childhood. Punctuation. The little freckle faces had graduated to manuscript in the 1st grade. They enjoyed making large periods. Sister Hysteria exploded, her chalk raging at the board. Her face was red as the new traffic light on Fairmount Avenue. Stop with the big dots! Her chalk flooded the board with dots, little periods. Not a big mark, not a circle, only a dot. Her shrieks sent little freckles into the air, as if their little freckle faces could pluck them back. The little freckle faces would remember to make little dots. And this is an ode to my older brother, who was full of big stories. Paul Storius. I used to be Paul Bunyan, Paul said, with an axe and blue ox to match. He could take down trees in a single swing and never feel a scratch. This was the tale that Paul would tell, but soon faced doubts of his credibility. So he gazed at an apple tree and shouted out his new capability. I'll climb to the tippy top of that apple tree right now. Show me the proof, said the gang, and they demanded a vow. I'll wave my cap at the tippy top, and you shall see my powers. With that, Paul ran to the tree and disappeared into its flowers. We waited in rapt silence for Paul to do his thing when a red baseball cap waved as if it had taken wing. Paul flew back victorious to tell another story notorious. But one thing was glorious. Paul would never be boring us. And this one is a total invention, as is true with many children's poems. Crossing streams. There once was a boy named Pierce who insisted on his own pace and was fierce. Forced to hurry, he'd become a fury, and he rebelled against his teacher's theory. His teachers began to worry that intelligence would be lost. Lessons plans were done in a hurry. Some assignments would be tossed. Teachers need rules, said he. Grades aren't enough for me. Pierce demanded liberty, even more time to pee. He observed the expression of water under compression, a discovery of fluid mechanics while crossing streams in a panic. When intelligence is covered and freedom is forbidden, teachers finally discovered that genius can be hidden. Now he walks to the bus without academic fuss. Heroic to his peers, they shout 3 cheers. And this one is, okay, you'll get it. Mea culpa. Sister taught temptation is in the air like humidity, parked on Lover's Lane or swimming in pubescent promise at the local swimming pool. She whispers with certainty about impure thoughts leading to damnation. Culpa sits across from me, studying the periodic table of elements. She is like a mind-altering substance that makes me really want to study science and even the stars, but she won't share my telescope. This doesn't seem sinful, but now Culpa says she hates astronomy, and I don't get it because last week she gave a report on rocket science and propulsion that launched me into space. Now we're studying algebra and discovery of the unknowns. I'm excited, but I don't know why. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Hooray, thank you everyone. Really lovely to hear from you all, and an absolute pleasure to see you all every Wednesday. Look forward to many more Wednesdays. Look forward to hearing you all at the marathon in January. Look forward to hanging out with you and enjoying some snacks right now. So, all right, good night.